Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. I'm your host, Benjamin Abel, and today I'm joined by my co-host, JP Asopardi. How are you, Jay?
I'm good, Ben. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So these are our 5 stories of the day. Aggressive fire breaks out in Marsa earlier this morning. Boys to shut down for a month as part of fresh COVID-19 measures. Late night Paceville fight ends in car accident. Jogging and cycling are the only 2 activities that can be done without a mask. Impromptu Valletta protest held against Poland's tighter abortion laws. So Jay, do you want to start us off with the first story of the day?
Sure. So breaking news this morning, an aggressive fire broke out in Marsa between an incinerator and a warehouse of a wine company. Apparently the fire happened at around 7 a.m. CPD and police as well as a medical team were brought on site to assist. Thankfully, no one was injured. People were evacuated from the area, and Waste Serve, speaking to Lovin Daily, said, in fact, that the fire happened at a autoclave material storage area. Now, if you were driving out and about near the south in Malta this morning, or just anywhere really, you would have seen this huge cloud of smoke erupt from the Marsa area. I think the fire is still being dealt with at the moment, but like I said before, thankfully no one has been injured. CBD are currently dealing with the fire, and more information on the fire will be revealed as it comes out.
Yes, thankfully it all seems to be under control. On to the next story of the day. Bars to shut down for a month as part of fresh COVID-19 measures. Now this is surely the story that everyone has been talking about since yesterday. So health authorities yesterday announced that until the 1st of December, bars will remain closed. That means they will be closed for around a month. Now, this rule doesn't exactly apply to snack bars and kiosks. However, snack bars and kiosks will not be allowed to serve alcohol from this coming Thursday, and will also be required to close up shop from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Alongside these new measures, another set of measures has also been announced. A few measures that were already announced have been revised. Amongst these, public gatherings are now limited to 6 people, and fines for people who break these new laws have been increased from €100 to €200. However, if the perpetrator does not challenge their fine, they will still have to pay €100 instead of €200. So a bit of a discount. You can't really call it a discount in that regard.
Yeah, just to give you an update on the whole COVID-19 situation in Malta. There are currently 1,895 active cases, following 18 new cases yesterday and 63 new recoveries. Unfortunately, this morning, Malta recorded its 54th COVID-19 death, which was a 70-year-old man who tested positive on 15 October when he was admitted to Malta Hospital. He remained there until yesterday, where he unfortunately passed away. Health Ministry stated that the man had suffered from chronic conditions before his time of his death, but he also tested positive for COVID-19, making him the 54th victim. Condolences to his family, of course, during this hard time. Moving on to our third story, a late-night Paceville fight ended with quite a shocking car accident, actually. It looked more like a hit and run, with his BMW ramming into another car before driving off. But before that happened, video footage showed a fight erupt somewhere near the St. George's Bay area over the weekend. It happened last Saturday. A brawl between someone dressed in white and another man, which then ended up with multiple people coming in to intervene. And in light of the COVID-19 situation, no one was wearing a mask. Obviously, social distancing wasn't adhered to. But after the fight ended, one of the individuals got into a BMW along with another woman, and then proceeded to smash into another car before driving off. Police reports indicate that the driver of the BMW, as well as another woman, were taken to hospital, where they were later certified as suffering from slight injuries. Obviously, a police investigation is underway to see exactly what happened. But now that we have more restrictions in place, hopefully we see less fights happening on the streets.
It's pretty surprising that there still is so much activity happening in Paceville. Actually, last Saturday, when COVID-19 regulations asked the bars to close up shop at 11 p.m., crowds could be seen flocking to St. George's Bay. Obviously, this sparked a lot of controversy. Hopefully, this behavior will be curbed once the new regulations come into place. On to the next story of the day. Jogging and cycling are the only two activities that can be done without a mask. So there's quite a bit of misunderstanding, we feel, amongst the general public about what the mask laws are actually about. So, from the legal notice that was released, it has been said that the only exception for these mask-wearing laws are high-intensity physical activities. However, Charmaine advised wardens that this so-called high-intensity physical activity only applies to jogging and cycling. Now, funnily enough, the Prime Minister was last Friday filmed walking in Bormla without a mask, and even funnier than that, he started jogging when he noticed that he was being filmed. Now, of course, this sparked quite a bit of controversy amongst people, especially amongst people who exercise in public spaces, with a woman and a group of 8 people getting fined for not wearing a mask while training outside. The group was training outside in Slima, in the chalet area, and one can say that they were participating in high-intensity physical activity. However, they were still fined. What do you make of this, Jay?
I think the issue here is that there's a lack of clarity on exactly what this rule means, and a lot of people are seeing it as quite unfair, in the circumstances that you're allowed to cycle and jog, but if you're fast walking or if you're outside doing weights or yoga or whatever, that doesn't constitute as high intensity activity, so you can get fined. On the other hand, there are people who could be watching you having a cigarette with a mask off, and for some reason they are allowed to remove a mask, and smoke. But if you're doing high intensity activity, then you aren't. It's a bit strange. I think a lot of people are confused. I think more clarity is needed on the topic, so that people just can get on, with their day. Moving on to our last story, an impromptu Valletta protest was held against Poland's tighter abortion laws. Now, just to give you some context, in Poland, a Polish court ruled that abortion in the case of severe fetal impairment was unconstitutional, effectively banning over 90% of legal terminations in the country. And since then, a lot of Polish people, a lot of Polish women have taken to the streets in protest, and their counterparts here in Malta, Polish women here in Malta, to show solidarity with the people there, has also protested outside Parliament or outside Valletta with signs saying that they wish they could abort their government and whatnot. And obviously this draconic law that was passed is really severe, impinges on women's rights and whatnot. So for them it's a pretty big deal. And actually when you compare it to Malta, this law, even after it was passed, is still more lenient than Maltese law, which, because there are exceptions in the cases of rape or incest, or if the mother's life is in danger. In Poland you can get an abortion, but in Malta you couldn't. So although these, the Polish law is quite draconic and quite archaic in a sense, and it's kind of a step backwards, it's still, when you put it into perspective in terms of Malta's abortion laws, it's still better than Malta, which is shocking. Which, if you weren't aware of this, puts you everything into perspective and into context, and you just see how there's a lot of progress that needs to be made in Malta, not just in Malta but now in Poland too, and you can see women all around the world feel let down by passing of this law.
Yes, as you said, the situation's even worse in Malta. Many people have been actively calling for the legalization of abortion in Malta. However, it seems like most people in power, most politicians, are too scared to speak out in favor of this cause. So we cannot really tell if or when abortion will truly be legalized in Malta. It's just, you can say it's a waiting game. Now, I believe that brings us to the end of this episode of Lovin Daily. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we hope you have a day full of lovin'.